Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Happy Hunting is a 2017 horror thriller movie that stars Martin Dingwall, Ken Lally, Gary Sturm and CJ Baker and is directed by Joe Dietz and Louis Gibson. And interestingly, when researching this movie, Louis Gibson is actually the son of Mel Gibson, which I thought was very interesting. And may well explain how some of this movie is shot really quite well. But we'll come to that. So this movie is basically it is a movie that you've seen before, but they still managed to make it seem really quite interesting in a lot of ways. And it is a movie that reminded me an awful lot of the Van Damme movie Hard Target, if you've seen that, and had shades of things like The Running Man as well in here without the sci-fi thing. And what we get here with this movie is at the beginning of the movie we meet the main character called Warren, who is a bit of a lowlife, is a drug addict, is an alcoholic, but he needs to get to this place quickly, and he basically tries to do a bum deal with some drug dealers that goes wrong, and he ends up killing a couple of them, and he has to do a runner. And he ends up in a place called like one of those trailer towns in America, like the Bedford, and it's called the Bedford Flats, that was famous many decades ago for hunting wildlife. A lot of hunters lived there, and they hunted a lot of the wildlife, we're told. And he's there just passing through. But like I say, he's an alcoholic, he's a drug addict, he's constantly drunk, he's constantly high pretty much. And what this town does, we learn every year, once a year, is this town, because of its heritage, hunting heritage, and there's no wildlife left for it to hunt. And this is my dog down here. Just throw this for him. There we go. There's no wildlife left for them to hunt, so once a year they actually decide to hunt humans for sport. And the humans that they hunt are what they see as the low life in the town, like the town drunks and this drifter passing through Warren and a couple of other people. And then they take them out in the wilderness, set them free, and then there's these hunters that are chosen every year to go out and try and kill them for sport. And they've got to obviously try and get through this alive and in one piece, these contestants, if you like. And that's kind of the story here. So as you, like I said, it feels familiar. It's a movie that you've seen before, and I wasn't expecting an awful lot from this movie because of that exact reason. I thought, well, we've seen this before and we've probably seen it better. And yes, we have, but that doesn't mean that this is a bad film, because I don't think it is. It actually quite surprised me, this movie. It's really quite well made. I think the directors have done a very good job. It is filmed and shot very well. The location is interesting. It's like out in the desert. They've chose their actors very well. None of them are particularly well known, but all of them do a very good job, especially the lead character, who, despite being an alcoholic and a drug addict, has obviously got military skills, because you see at the beginning, they only hint at it, you see like his dog collar hanging off something, so you see you straight away that hints that he's got a military background, really. So he's got to try and call on his previous skills to stay alive in this situation, while these trained hunters are hunting him and the other people down. So that's really what we get here. Like I say, I thought this was really quite an effective movie. I didn't like the start of the movie. It felt very grim and dark and a bit uninteresting. I didn't like the first 10-15 minutes of this movie. It was just scene after scene of grimness and him being drunk. This film really picked up when he actually gets hunted by the other people in the town. That's when this film really picks up, and you do feel the tension in the movie. It is done really well. There's one of the hunters who becomes very unhinged, which I thought was an interesting twist on that side of it. And it does become a battle for the survival, and for the most part you do kind of believe it. He uses everything that he's got at his disposal to live, and they use everything at their disposal to try and take him and the rest of the people out that they're hunting down. So you could do far worse than this movie. I thought it was pretty good. It's nothing majorly special. It's not going to win any awards, but as a movie to put on and watch and have a little bit of fun with. I'm not sure fun's the right word, because it's not a fun movie, this. It's actually quite graphic at times and pretty gruesome and very grim. And I'm not sure a lot of people will favour the ending. I didn't mind it too much, but I'm not sure many people will favour the ending. But this is a decent movie, this, and a pleasant surprise, to say the least.